Hello, guys. We are back for a brand new episode of the podcast, and today we have a very special guest. He's a professional mixed martial artist with a record of 6 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw, and he's currently fighting for Brave Combat Federation. Sam Patterson, how are you, my brother?
I'm good, my man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
So I've been following you for quite a while now. You've got a fight now, Friday, June the 4th, against Ylies
Yeah.
Djiroun. How are you feeling about the matchup? We're only a few weeks away now, so how's preparation going?
Yeah, very good. Very confident, putting in the hard work. And that's where my confidence comes from, really. It's just hard work day in, day out. I think it's a great matchup. He's number one in the Western Europe. So it's another big step up for me. And I can't wait to go out there and prove everyone that thinks I'm going to lose wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Brave must have a lot of confidence in you because this guy's very experienced. Like, he's got 18 wins, 6 losses. What thing do you feel like is the most dangerous about him? What aspect do you feel like is probably the most dangerous about your opponent?
I would say his experience over me. But to be honest, it's not Brave having like confidence in me or anything like that. Is they offer me a name, I say yes. I don't pick and choose my fights. I don't pick and choose my opponents to make it a stylistic matchup for me. I take whoever they put in front of me. That's the only way I think you're going to progress in this game. You pick and choose, you're going to have a record that's like 14-0 or whatever it is. And then you're going to come up against someone that's you don't have a choice and you're going to have to fight them. And then you're going to get figured out. Whereas I fight everyone they put across from me. And Ylies is another experienced opponent. And I look forward to testing myself against him.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at now your opponent, he's got a lot of wins by submission, and he starts off striking, and then he always gets a guillotine somehow. So is that something you're looking out for? Like, you know what, you've been training with the jiu-jitsu. Is that you're not too worried? You're kind of confident with your ground game?
I'm very confident in my ground game. To be fair, I'm just preparing for an all-round. I expect an all-round fight. Like you said, he strikes and ends up with a guillotine. That's because people end up shooting on him and he catches the guillotine. I believe it's going to be an all-round fight and I'm prepared accordingly. I don't really change anything depending on who I fight. If I fight a boxer, I don't just like work on my boxing. I focus on MMA. I focus on all aspects of the game. And really, that's what I do when I go into the fight. I show everything and I do what I do. And he will adjust to me on the night.
I was listening to a interview of yours with Brave, and you mentioned that you started off with a mixed martial arts background, and that's what's going to give you advantage. Could you elaborate further on that for people that may not know like what you're talking about? Like,
yeah, like you see a lot of fighters and stuff. They start in one discipline, and fortunately enough, when I started MMA, it was starting to grow a little bit. And I didn't have to start in one discipline like karate or boxing or kickboxing. I started in MMA. I started at an MMA gym. So all I know is MMA, like I train individual aspects of the sport. But when you start in MMA, you don't learn to strike, then you learn to grapple. You learn how to mix it all together. And I think my fights show that. I strike, but I've also got half my wins by submission as well. And I think that's just having an all-round game. So you're not favouring any area of each sport. You're not favouring one aspect. I'm all-rounded. I like to go everywhere, and I put that down to starting in an MMA gym and having an MMA background from the beginning.
yeah. So how old were you when you started? Like, what year did you start like actual training?
I started when I was 13, turning 14, if I remember correctly. I started at a local gym in Watford, Gintas Combat. I started in the kids class. I started doing the adults classes as well because I was quite a tall teenager. And then I had my first competition when I was 16. I was fighting on WCMMA, which was quite big back in the day, and UCMMA you've probably heard of.
Yeah.
So I got to fight on them on like the beginning of my career with Gintas Combat. And then unfortunately they closed down and Team Crossface opened in Watford. And I was young, I didn't have a car or anything at the time. So really Watford's local for me. So I moved over to Team Crossface and been on this journey ever since,
Oh, that's crazy. So you probably started around 2009, I'm guessing. 2009 to 10 maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe,
So
yeah. 10 years ago. Yeah, about 10 years ago. Yeah.
how different is the scene from then till now? Like when you were in school, how many guys were doing MMA?
Oh, barely anyone, you know, like I was doing it. Really, my parents got me into it to get me off the streets and stuff. Not that I was in a bad neighborhood or anything like that, but just not out on the street causing trouble. I had to go to like a martial arts class after school, so I wasn't really causing trouble.
Yeah.
But the MMA scene from then to now, even when I was like, some of the stories that I get told, I'm like, I've never experienced that. Like some of the stories Dave and Charlie tell me about their weight cutting, and fuck, I can't believe some of the stories they say and how the game's evolved even since I've been in it, and the talent and everything now. Like the amateurs are training like pros now, like even the amateur scene, you know, like whereas Dave and Charlie, they tell me they used to train like once, 3 times a week, and they would be competing. You got amateurs now training like 3 times a day. I was training 3 times a day when I was an amateur, you know, like the game's evolved in the right way, and I can't wait to see what the next 10 years bring, you know.
Yeah. So you talked about your amateur experience now. How many amateur fights did you have?
I think I had 6 or 7. I think I was 6-1 in that as well, you know. I had one loss at amateur and one loss at pro, and I don't plan on having any more losses. I've experienced a loss in both now, and it's wins from here on out.
You didn't go for IMAF or anything? You didn't think about going for IMAF, or was it like for you? You know what? I want to get quick as possible to pro.
Yeah, like to be fair, the IMAF, I didn't really know too much about the IMAF. I think I was just before it was quite big, and I was fighting on the local scene. And as soon as I won my first, I was running through people when I was with Team Crossface. I fought like 5 times in 1 year, and I was just running through people, submitting them. And then I won the Fight Star welterweight title at amateur. And my coach turned around and said to me, "We'll get you a real fight now." So he made me he said about turning pro, and ever since I've been pro from there, really.
Okay, so you talked about you know what's crazy? I was looking at your fights. You fought all over the world. You've hardly fought in England in your professional career. Like, so we'll start off with SFL now, Super Fight League. You fought in India. Was it India you fought? Was that in India?
Yeah. Mumbai.
Yeah. Okay. So how was that experience? Like going overseas and fighting like straight away in your first few fights?
Yeah, again, like we were saying about the game evolving, like my second pro fight was out the country, and that's what made me feel like a professional, you know, like I was traveling to a different country to fight, and this is what this sport has given me, you know, like I get to travel the world and do what I love. Like I love to fight, I love to train, and I get to travel the world and do that. And traveling to SFL was another great experience. I never thought in my lifetime like I want to go India, or there's certain countries you don't think of going, like Bahrain. I've been to Bahrain. I would never put that on a list of somewhere I want to go. But this sport's allowing me to go see these places and just travel the world and tick off all these places while doing what I love. I get to go fight, get paid, and come home, you know, like it's madness, and I love it, and I'll never change it.
Yeah, I believe you fought in Saudi Arabia as well. You fought like everywhere, like
yeah.
And now
the thing is, we're brave.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, we're brave. They're going everywhere, you know, like they're not limiting to one place. They're all over the place. So I get to travel. I've been to Saudi Arabia. Obviously, SFL was India and Mumbai, and Bahrain I fought, and now I get to go to Belarus. So
yeah, I mean,
brave are really opening the door, and really I put it down to my coaches and everything like that. It's thanks to them I am where I am, and I'm forever grateful. You know, I get to travel the world and fight for a living.
Yeah, I mean, first European country now, so Belarus, not long away. When are you going to be going to Belarus, and are you going to be in a bubble, or is it?
If it's the same as what it was when I went to Bahrain, yeah, you're in a bubble. You're in, like, they have all the COVID stuff and everything like that, which I don't know if it's the same as Bahrain, but I assume in this pandemic and everything, it will be the same. And I fly out at the end of this month. I fly out on the Monday, and I fight on the Friday, and I come home on the Sunday. So I got a whole week out in Belarus. I'm not one that likes to sit in my room and do nothing. So hopefully the bubble's a bit bigger, and I can go out the room and have a look around Belarus for a little bit. But we'll see. Obviously, we're still in a pandemic, and we'll see what happens. You know, if I can go around, I would love to. If not, I'm there for business anyway. It's not a holiday. I'm there for business, and it'll be another one to tick off the list. Being to Belarus.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be in the bubble. You're a 6'3". Are you 6'3"?
6'3".
Yeah, you're 6'3" lightweight, so 155 pounds, which is crazy. You're probably the tallest lightweight in Brave division, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe I'm one of the tallest professional lightweights as well. You know, there's not many.
Yeah. I mean,
in the lightweight division.
So how much are you cutting? How's your weight cut?
I honestly, I put it down to discipline. I really don't cut that much. Obviously, it's not easy. But my weight cut and my discipline over the 8 weeks leading up to the fight makes it easier. You know, like it's not easy for me, but instead of keeping my weight up and then waiting to the last week to drop it all, I gradually bring it down. I think being young and having a fast metabolism plays a big factor in it. And I'd say like probably about 10 pounds I'm cutting, if that, come fight week. That's it really. And just discipline over the 8 weeks. Having a great team around me, JJK Fuel and everything, helping me with my diet and keeping me on track is a massive bonus. You know, it makes it easier to make the lightweight division.
Do you feel like in the future you might be going up to welterweight? Do you feel like that's going to be a natural progression?
100%. I wouldn't even hesitate to go welterweight now. You know, like the only reason I'm in lightweight is because it's not a struggle. Like it just takes a bit more extra discipline, which I actually like. But if lightweight becomes a struggle, I see some of these fighters cutting a lot of weight and they're struggling to make the weight. If lightweight becomes a struggle for me, I'll go up to welterweight, no problem. Brave have a super lightweight division, so even 165. I've got the height for it, you know. I'm taller than some bloody light heavyweights, you know. So really, it's down to when the weight cut becomes too much, I'll go up without hesitation. I'm not dropping to lightweight to be a bigger guy because some of these guys are massive. I'm just tall, like, you know, I'm tall and lean. But the weight cut isn't that bad right now, so I'll stay at lightweight for now, and I'll go up accordingly.
Okay. So you mentioned your one loss now in pro. So you know that loss. You said it was a bit of a controversial stoppage, and do you feel like that loss was probably the best thing for you, having it early on now? It's out the way. There's no pressure of being undefeated, and you know what, you can go on a streak now. Is that how you're looking at it now, or at the time was it a bit, you know what, you were a bit shocked?
Yeah, at the time it was a shock because I thought I was invincible. You know, like I was riding a 6-fight win streak. I thought I was the man. Like I couldn't get touched. I had my chin in the air, and it was a shock when you realize that it doesn't take a lot in those 4-ounce gloves. It doesn't matter who it is. It can be someone that's not known for like power punching and stuff like that. Those 4-ounce gloves, it does not take a lot to put you out. So really, it was a blessing in disguise for me because that made me realize that I'm not invincible, and those 4-ounce gloves, you have to respect whoever it's on. So ever since then, I've been on a tear, you know, and it's respecting the game, respecting the 4-ounce gloves, not the opponent, because I respect everyone that I face. It's the 4-ounce gloves. It don't take a lot, and you need to respect it, not have your chin in the air. And just, yeah, that's it really.
So we'll talk about your one draw now, because it's against Ahmed Amir, the butcher. He was supposed to fight for the title against Amin Ayub. Did that surprise you, or do you feel like, you know what, that's the sign that you're kind of not too far away from the belt, fighting for the belt, maybe 1 or 2 fights away?
Yeah, like the belt's not in my mind right now, to be honest. I just want to be active. It didn't make, in my head, it doesn't make sense, but it is what it is. I weren't chasing. I'm not disappointed he's getting it. We had our draw. We both went on to have 2 fights. We both won both our fights, but my fights have been in a lightweight division. His were at 165, and he gets the lightweight title. Now, as an organization, that doesn't make sense if you were looking at it, but there's no rankings or anything like that in Brave. So there's no like, oh, I'm the #1 contender or this and that. It's circumstances, and the butcher's been with Brave for however long. Fair play to him. Let him have the title shot. I think he is still fighting for the title if that gets rescheduled or whatever happens. For me, I just want to be active. I just want to fight, be active. We've had this pandemic and like nearly a year off, so I'm just looking forward to staying active and racking up some wins.
Do you feel like there should be rankings in Brave? Like we've seen rankings now in Bellator, and it just makes the division a lot more fun, a lot more exciting, knowing there's rankings and like when you see certain guys match up. Do you feel like it's necessary to have rankings?
I wouldn't say it's necessary. I think it's a good idea because, like you said, it shows who's above you and who you need to beat to get to the title, because it gives you a bit more structure right now. But and then again, it don't really. If the champ's running through everyone, he works his way through the rankings anyway, and you can fight number 10. But it does give it a bit of structure in the division. You know, like at the moment, you've got someone that fought at 165 twice, fighting for the lightweight belt. When you've got a stacked lightweight roster of fighters not getting the shot, you know, and that's no disrespect to the Butcher, but that shows there's no structure in the division because you've got other fighters that are winning in the lightweight division but not getting a title shot. So maybe a ranking system would help that. But again, rankings mean nothing as well. It could be circumstances, it could be availability, and there's many more aspects, but it is what it is.
Okay, so your last win now, Felipe Silva. You had a bit of a Chuck Liddell-esque kind of knockout where you were moving kind of backwards and then you got the shot. Came with a hook with the right hand, right? You flatlined him. How was that for you? Like once you saw that, were you like, whoa?
Yeah, like it was. To be fair, we knew he was going to be aggressive. Like watching it, I only see some of his fights, but my coaches watch his fights. His style is a very Muay Thai aggressive style, and I'm a good counter puncher, and I find the target. I was shocked that I knocked him out because I didn't put a lot behind it. But it doesn't take a lot when like I said, those 4-ounce gloves, and when someone's running onto you, they give you the power that you need to put them out. You know, it was just the right place at the right time. His aggression was his biggest weakness in that fight, and I capitalized on it.
Yeah. So your next fight now, Ylies Djiroun. Is that something you're going to be looking forward to? You're going to be looking to get the knockout or submission? Are we expecting a finish?
If we're going off my last fights, I've got 15 minutes to beat this guy. That's how I approach every fight. I've got 15 minutes to beat the guy in front of me. I'm not a decision fighter. I don't like leaving it to the judges. You can see that from my record. They're all finishers. But I don't hunt for it, you know. I just go in there, I do my thing, and eventually the finish comes. If I hunt for the knockout, I'm never going to get the knockout. If I hunt for the submission, I'm never going to get it. I just go in there, do what I do, and eventually the pace that I push and the length that I have normally is enough, and I finish them within the 15 minutes. And that's my mindset going into this fight. I'm expecting some savvy tricks. He's an experienced fighter. He's fought all around the world. Got a lot of respect for what he's done and the level he is. Like, I'm not underestimating him, which I don't any of my opponents. But I've got 15 minutes to beat this guy, and I will beat this guy.
All right. I like the confidence, man. I'm liking it. I can't wait to see the fight. So I'm from Birmingham, right? So I saw you were training at Team Renegade, so with the guys like Leon Edwards. And how was that experience? Training with Kamby? Were you doing wrestling with Kamby, was it?
Yeah, I went over to Fearless MMA with Kamby. It was a great experience. Just the opportunity. John Gooden is he trains here at Team Crossface, and he hooked up the opportunity. And it was not something I was going to pass up on. If I can travel and train with these guys, I can't say no, you know. Like, I think all the UK fighters can help each other to build, you know. Like, I understand on the smaller circuit, they weren't helping each other because you normally fight against each other in the UK. But now at this level, when you're all flying out to different countries, you're fighting people from all around the world. I think the UK scene should build each other up. So John Gooden helping hook that up was a great weekend up in Birmingham, and training with Leon Edwards and his team, and then at Fearless and their team was just a great experience for me. A great weekend of learning, and I look forward to traveling up there again. I've been invited back up there again, which is nice of them guys, and I look forward to returning to Birmingham and training again.
When you went there and you saw them like train, was that kind of like, did that kind of show you the blueprint to be like a very high level fighter? Because now we see Leon, he's fighting Diaz next. He's top five, top three, I believe. The welterweight division. So when you saw that kind of train, do you understand? Did you kind of give you a grasp? Okay, now like I'm at that level as well, or
Yeah, like training with that level shows the level that they are, but they train very smart up there. It was like I said about learning, like that's all I can put it down to that weekend is going up there. I didn't walk away. It weren't just like a brawl up there. Just the way they train is trying to build everyone. Like even me and Charlie Leary, my training partner, went up there to train, and it wasn't like, oh, these are the outsiders. Leon took the time to help me after the class with a technique, and it just showed we're doing the right things down here at Team Crossface, and the level that they've got up there is they've just got the right mentality of trying to help and build everyone else around them, you know. So it was good to go travel up there, good experience, and I look forward to going back.
nice. So talking about Leon, how do you see his fight going with Nate Diaz?
I think it's been rescheduled now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, UFC 263.
He's some athlete, I tell you. Like you see, in person, he's a true athlete, and I think he just outclasses Nate Diaz. If I'm honest, I think his fight IQ and his win streak he's on says it all really. I think he goes out there and does his thing and just dominates over 5 rounds. If he gets the finish, fair play. But his fight IQ, and you can just tell, like even just watching his fights, I only got to train with him once, so I don't really know. I got to train with him once. I didn't get to. I don't know him, but watching his fights and watching Nate Diaz, I think Leon Edwards' fight IQ is the difference, and I look forward to watching that fight.
All right, nice. So obviously you train in Birmingham now. Coming back to your kind of training now, so we'll talk about Team Crossface. So you trained with your coach David Lee, who's a UFC veteran. You know, he's a UK MMA veteran. You mentioned Charlie Leary, who I believe is he in Bellator?
Yeah, he signed in Bellator.
So
yes.
I believe, yeah. So I know I've had one of my guests is from Team Crossface, Shah No Pain Hussein. And
Shah,
yeah, Shah. So I've had Shah on. He came on last year, and he was talking about like David Lee's background, and he's had a mixture of catch wrestling and all jiu-jitsu, everything, all from high level people. The names are not ringing a bell now for catch wrestling. Is it Eric Paulson?
Eric Paulson, yeah.
Eric Paulson, right? Yeah. So having a coach with that kind of background, because a lot of people don't know about catch wrestling. Like if you ask someone about catch wrestling, jiu-jitsu, sambo, all that comes up, but catch wrestling never comes up. And some of the greatest fighters in MMA history, Sakuraba, Josh Barnett, all these guys all had a catch wrestling background.
From a catch wrestling background.
Yeah. So how is it having someone like that as your like coach?
Yeah, Dave Lee is the best coach I could have. You know, like he for one keeps me humble, but the guy's knowledge is unreal. You know, like I've the amount he knows about the game, and like you said, the experience he's fought around the world. If he says something, I do it. You know, like I never question him. I'm always asking him questions, and his mind for the game, from not just like in his jiu-jitsu, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, his catch wrestling, like everything, the whole aspect of MMA, not just in one area. You know, like he's got a great mind for the game, and we're a great fit together. And I can't say enough good things about him. I don't want to big him up too much because he'll get too big-headed. He's not here right now, but he would love me chatting about him. So I won't big him up too much. He knows how I feel and how much I am grateful for what he's done for me.
You know, when you said that Team Crossface opened up, do you feel like you were kind of lucky that it was like open up right next to you and you got the chance to go to a gym like that? Because you see some people, they might have the potential, but they end up at the wrong gym. So do you feel like it was just a match made in heaven?
100%. I think it was actually like perfect timing because Gintas closed down, and I could have still trained with Gintas and his team, but they were further away, and I never had the transport to do it to get there. And then as they closed, Dave was opening up, and it was like everything aligned. And I can't thank him enough. And I've been with this team, I can't even think how many years now, and how far I've come already. And how far we're going to go is unreal. It feels like everything was happened for a reason, you know, and we're going all the way.
And So you had a brave in one of your brave interviews. You said, "I'm a martial artist. I'm not a brutal cage fighter." Could you elaborate on that for people?
Yeah, like if you speak to the common fan, they don't really know what like mixed martial arts is. They know what cage fighting is, and when you say cage fighting, it's like, yeah, that is what I do, but I'm not some like just like when you say cage fighting, people get the wrong idea. Like it's a you're an animal in a cage fighting, but it's not. It's a sport, you know. Like I'm a mixed martial artist. I don't just train and fight. I This game has turned me into the person I am. Like martial arts, not fighting. Martial arts has turned me into the person I am, with discipline, respect, structure, and that's why I pride myself on. I'm a mixed martial artist. I don't train when I've got a fight. You know, like I train all year round. I love what I do, and I love martial arts. And when you tell people you're a martial artist, they're like, "Oh, what you do karate or Krav Maga?" Like, and then when you say cage fighting, they think you're an animal. There's no like in between. They don't understand, and I think they will begin to understand as the sport grows. But right now, it's you're either a cage fighter or a martial artist, and I think martial artist sounds a bit better than cage fighting. You know, like into the normal person.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Like when I talk to the average person, if I tell them about a podcast, just say, and then they're like, "Who do you kind of interview?" I can't say MMA fighters. I have to say cage fighters and things like that. And then
Yeah,
it comes into another subject, like they
it's
think
like
I'm
they just think,
interviewing some. They think I'm interviewing some,
yeah,
Alcatraz freaking prison,
yeah, like
kind of
some.
criminal.
That's literally the look you get when you are on the street and people are like, "What do you do?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, like I'm a mixed martial arts fighter." And then it's like, "Oh, that's that cage fighting stuff." And you say yeah, and then it's just like their whole attitude changes. It's like think you're some
Yeah,
like animal. And like I got a little lump today, a little black eye from Dave actually. Credit to Dave.
yeah.
But I walk down the street with a black eye and people think you're some thug, you know. They don't realize that I'm probably like the discipline every martial arts gives you is better than the normal person that does street fight and stuff like that, you know. So calling it cage fighting, people get the wrong idea and they just think that you're some like hooligan, you know.
Yeah, so you talked about being a martial artist. I feel like the Diaz brothers are actual martial artists. Like if you look at what they do outside of the cage, like people have this misconception like they're thugs. When you look at Nick Diaz, for example, the guy's doing nunchucks, he's training 24/7. He's literally a martial artist. Like even though he's been retired, he's been training the last 6 years. So like you said, the misconceptions are actually crazy. Like the last people you think is the Diaz brothers as martial artists, but if you look at it, they're the example of a martial artist.
Yeah, even like you see them, they smoke weed and stuff like that, and people just automatically get the wrong impression. Like there's people that smoke weed for the right like benefits, and there's people that smoke weed to just sit on their couch and do nothing. There's people that fight just for a fight, and there's people that are martial artists, and you just get put in the same bracket regardless. If like you said, there's fighters out there that are just brawlers and fighters, and then there's people out there that are martial artists like Nick Diaz and Nate Diaz that train all the time. They're in the sport, you know, and they're put in the same bracket. It doesn't matter. You just put in the same bracket as everyone else. But that's just the world. It's always going to be like that. Hopefully, with the game building and the MMA building, like I said, and we talked about the 10-year, how much it's changed. I hope in the next 10 years, when you talk to the average person, you say, "Oh, yeah, I'm a mixed martial arts fighter." They understand. You know, they're not. We're not still having the conversation about being a brawler or a cage fighter or a hooligan and putting it all in the same bracket. Hopefully, they know the difference.
Do you feel like now with guys like Conor McGregor and then Habib coming, like it's kind of slowly shaping into like where you're seen as athletes more? Do you feel like it's coming to
100%.
that stage now?
Yeah, 100%. I believe that with the even on the amateur scene with the IMAF and stuff like that, it's definitely seen more as a sport, but it's still such a bigger like bunch of people that will begin to know like boxing, how big boxing is. It's just a bit. I think the Olympic scene is. I would like to see mixed martial arts in the Olympics. I think that would make a big difference.
Do you
Like
feel
having
like
boxing in the.
do you feel like that will water it down a bit?
No, I think it would be good for the sport. I don't think it would water it down. I think if that's the martial arts scene, I think the more it's out there, the more that it's seen by the people that watch the Olympics or people that just watch general TV and they see it on there. They don't see it as a brutal sport. They see it as a sport, you know, like not a fight. But again, there's always pros and cons to everything. It could be in the Olympics and get watered down. It could be in the Olympics and opens people's eyes to more of a sport, and then everyone will see the sports side of things of martial arts. But there's a catch-22. We don't know. Give it 10 years and ask me again, and we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, so we're moving on from that now. You mentioned obviously your fight now. I'm gonna start asking you a bit of lighter questions now. So we're gonna get into your favorite striking combo.
Favorite striking combo? Jab. I'll tell you now, the jab. I'm not just saying that because I'm 6'3" in the lightweight division, but the jab is just the weapon, you know. Like for me, the jab is my favorite striking combo. Forget combinations, just double jab, just jab, double jab, jab and run. It's the best.
How long is your reach?
79 inches, I think. I think John Gooden. I think John Gooden actually saying that he measured it out once to find out, and I'm pretty sure it's 79 inches.
79 inches at lightweight. Whoa. Okay. Wait, that's more than a lot of heavyweights.
Yeah, I think I've got one of the longest reaches. That's for sure. That's why the jab's my favorite combo. the jab cross and the jab. That's all I need.
All right. Favorite submission?
I'm going to say guillotine. The thing is, I'm actually, I won't give too much away. Like people are clocking onto my guillotine at the moment. And most of my finishes are by guillotine. But I've got a few cheeky submissions coming, you know, like I haven't even had to show yet. So we'll see. But I'll say guillotine for now.
Do you find it ironic that your opponent that's his main weapon as well? So it's the battle of the guillotines.
It's the battle of the guillotines. So I think we'll both counter each other out. We'll see.
All right. So the next one is your favorite kind of meal after a fight, post-fight.
Cake. Man, people don't realize how much I love cake. It don't matter what cake it is. White chocolate cake, white chocolate. That is all I need. It's people go to like savory and stuff like that. I'm not even joking. Yeah. When I have cake, I go in. Like I eat a lot of cake and white chocolate. The people around me know how much I eat the sweet stuff. So I would say a white chocolate cake.
All right. White chocolate cake. I'm going to give you two individuals. I just want to give me your preference of each individual. So we'll start off with Fedor Emelianenko or Randy Couture.
Am I picking my favorite out?
Yeah.
Fedor,
yeah. Who would have won that fight in their prime?
Oh, I don't know. The thing is I'd say Fedor. I'm going to go Fedor.
All right, Fedor. The next one is John Jones or Daniel Cormier?
John Jones.
John Jones, all right. How do you see him?
If we're talking, go on.
How do you see him matching up in heavyweight?
I think it's a challenge for him. He's doing it. I don't know if he's doing it the right way or not, putting on the size. But to go against Ngannou, I think he needs the size. But I think it's more of a challenge for him up there. He was so dominant in the light heavyweight division that when he goes in there and beats them, or it's even close, people just go, "Oh, we was meant to beat them." But if he goes up to heavyweight, now he's got more challenges. I think, like Ngannou fight, that's going to be a good fight. But John Jones is like, if you watch him from the beginning at 21, you know, like he doesn't even look like he's doing crazy stuff, and he somehow people just can't touch him. He's on another level.
All right. Do you think he beats Ngannou handily, or do you feel like it's going to be a close fight?
I think at heavyweight it's such a dangerous one to call. You know, like it takes one shot, and Ngannou's got that one shot. If it was like talking mixed martial arts, who's got a better skill set? I'd say John Jones. But at heavyweight, in them 4-ounce gloves, if Ngannou touches you anywhere on anywhere on the head, I think it can be a bad night. You know, so it's hard like choose. You know, I wouldn't choose because it can go either way.
All right, I'm gonna ask you for a few matchups now. So we'll start off with GSP versus Habib. If that were to ever happen, it's just more of a fun matchup.
I think Khabib. I think just out of the era we're in, like GSP was the best in his time, and he even talks about this. He talks about the fighters of today are better than the fighters yesterday, and I think that's the difference. I think Khabib is the fighter of today. GSP was the fighter of his time, so I would say Khabib.
All right, that's interesting. All right, the next
you
one.
You think GSP? Yeah.
In my head, it's always GSP. But I can see now how Habib could win. But I don't know. Maybe if GSP was still training, I would probably pick GSP if I was going to be. Even though I've got the Habib poster right there, but but
you gotta take that down.
All right, and obviously the next one we spoke about, Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz.
Leon Edwards, I think is, like I said earlier, I think his fight IQ's not that Nate Diaz is hasn't got fight IQ. I just think as an athlete and his fight IQ would be the difference in the fight.
Yeah, I mean them elbows as well, and Nate Diaz gets caught up quite easily as well. So
yeah, it could be another like stoppage like the Masvidal fight where the doctor jumps in. Like you said, Nate Diaz does his skin does split very quickly. I just think Leon is active. I know he's had like a year and something off, but Nate Diaz had even longer off. So I think his activity and just where he is right now, as at that level, I think he beats him.
How do you see Leon matching up with Kamaru Usman? I feel like he'll actually do really well if you can get up from the wrestling.
100%. I think the fact that he's been in with him before will be the difference. I think he knows what to expect now. I feel Usman's growing every fight. I don't think he's not the same fighter as he was when they fought, but neither is Leon. I think they've both really evolved, and I that's the fight I want to see. You know, as a martial artist, because they don't talk like a lot. That's why I don't think that fight's happened yet. But as a martial artist, I think that's the fight to make. I don't see any other. Leon is killing the scene, running through everyone, and he's on like I think an 8-fight win streak or something like that.
Yeah.
And you got you got Usman fighting the people he's already fought. You know, like I believe Leon should be next, and I think that's a great martial arts fight, and it would be entertaining for a martial artist, like a martial arts fan, to watch.
All right, nice. The next one is John Jones versus Ngannou. So, like we were just talking about, how do you see that fight going?
I would say I can't. Like I said, I don't know what way I'd go, so I'm going to go Ngannou first round or John Jones after that. If Ngannou doesn't knock him out in the first round, I think John Jones.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like John Jones will just get him down and he's gonna drown him in the ground.
Yeah, but again, you saw Stipe fought that as well going into the second fight. He tried putting him down and he hit that ball, took the back, got up. I'm not saying that's how it's going to go, but Ngannou is learning as well. You know, he's a martial artist. He's trying to improve, and I think he knows where his weaknesses is. But again, I think it's Ngannou. Like, that's the only way. If I was a betting man, I would say Ngannou first round, John Jones after that. Like you say, he puts him down in the first round. He'll wear him down, and then after that, it's just a repeat. He does the same thing and keeps doing it.
You don't think because I feel like Jones is a better kind of wrestler, MMA wrestler. Like even like the way he takes people down, everything from the execution. You don't think he would submit him or finish him once he got to the ground?
I think it's a possibility. It may be in the later rounds if it's over 5 rounds. Yeah, I think if John Jones does what he done in his earlier days where he looked for the finish, then yes, definitely. I think he finishes in the later rounds. But the John Jones in his last few fights, he'd put people down and he would just maintain position and he would hold position and ride out a decision. You know, he weren't really as aggressive as what he used to be in the submissions and everything like that. I think the later rounds he'll try, but I think he'll prove a point and just submit him or cut him open really bad. But again, that's if he gets out of that first round with Ngannou hitting like a mad truck.
All right, and the biggest fight now, Sam Patterson versus Ylies Djiroun. How does that fight go?
or it's no, joking. You know what way that's going. That way's already set. That's me victory. You know, like 15 minutes to beat this guy. Sam Patterson's getting his hand raised on the 4th of June.
And why should people tune into Brave 51 in Belarus on Friday, June the 4th?
I think they should tune in. There's a load of exciting fights on there, but I'm fighting. So, you know, my fights are exciting. Ylies fights are exciting. There's a great main event. Tune in, some great fights, and I'm sure I'll put on a show for you guys.
You heard it, people. Sam Patterson fighting Friday, June the 4th. Take care, man.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.